What if the way you rest your head every night, feeling safe and sound, is quietly strangling the very life from your brain? For those over 60, a stroke can strike overnight, silent and sudden, all because of something as simple as your pillow position. As a brain doctor, I've seen this silent betrayal far too many times. As a brain doctor, I'm shocked by how many seniors unknowingly raise their stroke risk every night, simply by how they position their head. It's not always smoking or poor diet that's the culprit. Often, it's seemingly harmless pillow habits most seniors believe are safe. They're not. Today, I'll walk you through 9 specific pillow positions and routines that are silent stroke triggers for those over 60, when your brain is most vulnerable. This isn't just about comfort, it's about survival. This video could prevent a life-altering stroke for you or someone you love. Don't look away. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button and turn on the bell. Your active participation helps others find this life-saving knowledge. Let me know you're with me by typing 1 in the comments below. Let's start this vital journey. 1. Sleeping flat on your back with no pillow. It seems harmless, even comforting. Lying flat at night, arms at your sides, nothing under your head but the mattress. For many older adults, it's a habit that started decades ago. Some say it helps with back pain, offering a sense of openness. But here's what almost no one tells you. This decades-old habit holds a secret danger for your brain. It's a position that, while feeling completely safe, could be quietly setting the stage for a stroke overnight. When you sleep completely flat, your head lies on the same level as your heart. That might sound natural, but physiologically it's not, especially not in older adults. You see, as we age, the vessels in our neck and brain lose their flexibility. Blood doesn't flow as efficiently. The veins that are meant to drain blood from your brain must now fight against gravity. This means instead of draining smoothly, blood can pool, slow down, and even clot, especially in the early morning hours when blood pressure naturally rises. Your brain's plumbing system slows down, and stagnant blood becomes a breeding ground for clots. One small clot in a narrowed vessel, and the consequences can be devastating. I want to tell you about Mr. Leonard Whitaker, a 77-year-old retired mechanic from Michigan. Strong, independent, still fixed lawnmowers in his garage. Every night he laid down flat in bed, no pillow, just the mattress, and his hands folded on his chest. A habit he picked up from his Navy days. He said it helped him sleep deeply. One morning, his wife Mary found him half awake but unable to speak. His eyes were open, but one side of his face had fallen. He couldn't lift his right arm. A stroke, silent, sudden, and life-altering, all because of something as simple as the way he rested his head. In the ER, a scan showed a clot in his left middle cerebral artery, a type of ischemic stroke that happens when blood thickens and clots inside narrowed vessels, often during sleep. His carotid arteries were stiff. Blood had pooled too long, and it was all linked to his sleeping position. Doctors worked quickly to dissolve the clot, but Leonard was never quite the same. His speech is slower now. He uses a walker. It was a tragic confirmation of what we, as brain doctors, understand. When you lie flat, especially with age-related vascular changes, venous drainage from the brain becomes compromised. The brain's plumbing system slows down, and stagnant blood can become a breeding ground for clots. This position is especially dangerous for seniors with pre-existing conditions. If you have hypertension, atrial fibrillation, or sleep apnea, the risk is compounded. Those with a history of carotid artery disease or individuals on blood pressure medications that drop pressure too low at night are also highly vulnerable. Add in natural overnight dehydration and low oxygen saturation, and you've got a perfect storm. Are you unknowingly in the high-risk zone? It's crucial to check these vital risk factors against your own health profile, because what feels natural might be silently escalating your danger. The safest adjustment is simple. Slight head elevation, about 30 degrees. This isn't just about comfort. It's about giving gravity a helping hand. It helps gravity assist blood flow, reduces intracranial pressure, and allows the brain to oxygenate more evenly. Even 1 or 2 supportive pillows can make a profound difference. And always choose a pillow that supports the natural curve of the neck, not one that tilts the chin forward. It's about blood flow to the most delicate organ in your body. It's about protecting your independence, your memory, your ability to speak, to walk, to be you. Leonard told me once with tears in his eyes, "Doc, if someone had just told me that sleeping flat could do this, I would have changed it years ago." Let me be that someone for you today. But if you think that's concerning, if the idea of your brain's plumbing slowing down and forming clots while you sleep sounds terrifying, wait until you learn what happens when you sleep face down, where your neck bends in just the wrong way, cutting off the very arteries that feed your brain. His tears told the story. Now, prepare for the next shocking truth. Your face-down comfort could be a death trap. There's a quiet mistake many older adults make every night, one that feels comforting, familiar, and even harmless: sleeping on your stomach. Maybe you've adopted this position to ease back pain, or perhaps you simply enjoy the feeling of pressure on your chest, a sense of being cocooned and safe. For decades, it might have felt like the most natural way to drift off. But as a brain doctor, I'm here to tell you something you may have never heard from your primary doctor. This seemingly benign habit holds a secret danger for your brain, a peril subtly hidden within its perceived comfort. When you sleep face down, in what we call the prone position, several dangerous things begin to happen. Your neck turns sharply to one side, an unnatural torsion that compresses the vertebral arteries. These vital vessels are responsible for carrying oxygen-rich blood from your spine to the back of your brain, a region that controls balance, coordination, and even your ability to stay conscious. But that's not all. This posture also places pressure on the carotid arteries, especially when your head sinks into an overly soft pillow or mattress. Blood flow is slowed. Veins that are supposed to carry blood away from the brain become kinked. Stagnant blood collects, thickens, and in vulnerable people, it forms blood clots. I'll never forget Mrs. Ethel Lawson, an 82-year-old retired schoolteacher from Ohio. She came to me after a terrifying experience. Ethel was a creature of habit, and her habit was sleeping on her stomach. It was her comfort. Her daughter had found her one morning lying awkwardly, face down, her speech garbled, and her left side unresponsive. The alarm in her daughter's voice as she recounted the story still echoes in my mind. Ethel was rushed to the hospital, a frantic dash against time, her life hanging in the balance, all because of a position she thought was safe. At the hospital, scans revealed a large ischemic stroke affecting her cerebellum, the part of the brain responsible for coordination and balance. But the cause wasn't high cholesterol or atrial fibrillation. Ethel's carotid arteries were narrowed with age, and the hours she spent sleeping face down with her neck twisted had reduced blood flow just enough to allow a clot to form. Medical studies have shown that in the prone position, neck rotation can impinge vertebral artery flow by more than 40%. This is especially true if the pillow or mattress forces your head backward, exacerbating the compression. By morning, the damage had been done. But the danger extends beyond just artery compression. Sleeping face down with your head sunk into a pillow can lead to chest compression, which reduces lung expansion and results in low oxygen saturation. This places additional stress on your heart and brain. Furthermore, obstructed airflow can increase carbon dioxide retention, which further alters brain blood flow, often leading to vascular instability. As we age, our bodies don't tolerate these oxygen drops and CO2 buildups the way they used to. A 30-year-old might wake up gasping and readjust, but at 70 or 80, the same drop might pass unnoticed, silently setting the stage for a nighttime stroke. If you're someone who snores, has sleep apnea, or takes sedatives or sleep medications, sleeping face down is even more dangerous. Your body is less responsive, your airway is more likely to collapse, and the chance of a silent, oxygen-starved stroke goes up dramatically. If you or someone you love is in the habit of sleeping on your stomach, I urge you, try switching to your side with a firm pillow that keeps your head aligned. Even better, sleep slightly elevated on your left side to help protect both brain and heart circulation. These small changes are not about comfort. They are about survival. Ethel survived, but she no longer drives. She struggles to walk without a walker, and she tells me every time we meet, with tears in her eyes, "I had no idea something as simple as how I slept could nearly take my life." Her words are a stark reminder that what feels cozy might be putting deadly pressure on the very arteries that keep your brain alive. And remember, it's not just how you sleep. It's also where pressure builds while you sleep. Because next, we're going to talk about another sleeping habit millions of seniors fall into, one that quietly cuts off blood flow and leads to sudden strokes in the night. There's a small, deeply personal habit that many seniors carry with them into old age. Something comforting, almost childlike, that we do without thinking. We pull the blanket up over our heads at night, or perhaps we sink our head deep into an overly soft pillow, creating a comforting cocoon. Maybe it's to block out noise from a snoring partner or a humming fan. Maybe the room feels drafty or too bright. Or maybe, like many who grew up in colder homes, we find a kind of peace under that warmth and silence. But for older adults, this small nighttime habit can quietly turn deadly. Your favorite pillow or that cozy blanket might be silently suffocating your brain while you sleep. When you sleep with a heavy blanket over your head, or your head sinks into an overly soft pillow, you're not just blocking light or sound, you're limiting airflow. Over the course of the night, oxygen levels drop inside that tiny, restricted space around your face. Carbon dioxide, the waste gas we exhale, builds up around your nose and mouth. And while your younger body may have tolerated it decades ago, at 60, 70, or 80, your brain doesn't recover the same way. Your safe cocoon is actually a silent trap, stealing the very air your brain needs to survive. Low oxygen and high carbon dioxide during sleep increase your risk of blood thickening. And in vulnerable brains, it forms blood clots. Let me tell you about Mr. Richard Hale, an 81-year-old retired postmaster from Iowa. A quiet, thoughtful man, Richard always liked the feeling of sleeping in the dark. He told me he'd been pulling the covers over his head since childhood. Messy, especially in the winter, his wife had gently teased him for it, saying he looked like a bundled-up caterpillar every night. But it made him feel safe, relaxed, and so every evening he tucked in tightly, pulling a thick quilt over his head and curling into sleep, his head sinking deep into his old, soft pillow. Then one morning, Richard didn't get out of bed. His wife, alarmed, found him groggy and unresponsive. He could barely open his eyes. His lifelong comfort became his silent killer. A simple quilt, a soft pillow, a devastating stroke. When the ambulance arrived, his blood oxygen levels were dangerously low, and a scan at the hospital revealed he had suffered a silent stroke in the early morning hours. A clot had formed and lodged in a small vessel deep in his brain, not from atherosclerosis or atrial fibrillation, but from oxygen deprivation during sleep, paired with age-related blood thickening. Richard's soft pillow allowed his head to sink in, further restricting his airway, compounding the issue. You see, during deep sleep, especially REM cycles, your brain needs consistent oxygen flow. When you're under the covers rebreathing stale air, or your head is engulfed by a soft pillow, your oxygen drops, compromising this vital flow. The unseen enemy, a silent stroke caused by a simple act of comfort. Oxygen starvation is real. This isn't only a risk for those with diagnosed sleep apnea. It can affect anyone whose breathing is disrupted by environment or posture. When your oxygen drops, your heart compensates by beating faster, and your blood pressure begins to fluctuate. These spikes and valleys put stress on already fragile vessels. Add in mild dehydration, slow circulation, and age-hardened arteries, and you've created a perfect setup for a clot to form. And here's the terrifying part. You might never know it's happening. You go to sleep feeling warm and safe, but your brain is suffocating slowly, and by the time the damage is done, you may wake up a different person, if you wake up at all. Your heart is fighting a silent battle every night. Don't let your pillow make it harder. If you're someone who sleeps with a blanket over your head, or consistently sinks into an overly soft pillow, even just during the winter months, it's time to rethink the routine. Instead of pulling the covers up, try wearing a sleep mask to block out light, or use earplugs for sound. Keep your room at a comfortable, warm temperature and invest in breathable, lightweight bedding. Most importantly, choose a pillow that offers firm, consistent support, keeping your head elevated and your airway open, rather than allowing your face to be enveloped. This isn't about discomfort. It's about protection, about giving your brain the oxygen it needs to restore, repair, and survive the night. Simple swaps for safer sleep. Protect your brain from silent suffocation tonight. Strokes don't just happen to other people. They happen to good people, thoughtful people. People like Richard who had no idea that a lifelong habit could nearly steal his ability to walk, talk, and remember. He now sleeps with a wedge pillow, soft lighting, and his blanket folded below his shoulders. He told me quietly, "I never knew something that felt so safe could be so dangerous." And he's not alone, because what we don't know can hurt us, especially while we sleep. Richard's story is a chilling reminder. Next, the recliner, your cozy escape or a silent stroke trap. But as dangerous as a heavy blanket over the head or a soft pillow may be, it's nothing compared to the next habit. For many older adults, the one simple act of falling asleep and staying there becomes a nightly challenge. Achy joints, stiff spines, relentless acid reflux, and even shortness of breath often make a traditional bed feel like an enemy. It's no wonder, then, that a familiar, seemingly comforting solution emerges: the recliner chair. You may know someone who has abandoned their bed altogether for its inviting embrace. Perhaps that someone is you. Night after night, recliner sleeping becomes routine. A soft blanket, the television humming faintly in the background, the chair angled just right. It feels secure. But what feels safe can sometimes be quietly dangerous, especially when it comes to your brain health. As a brain doctor, I've seen how this position, sleeping upright in a reclined chair, can slowly, silently increase the risk of stroke overnight. You see, the human body was designed to rest flat, allowing blood and oxygen to flow evenly throughout. But when you sleep in a semi-upright position, say 45 to 60 degrees, you're putting your circulatory system at a distinct disadvantage, especially if you're older. In this position, gravity does two detrimental things. It pulls blood downward away from your brain, and it compresses the major veins in your legs and hips. The result? Sluggish blood flow, pooling in the lower limbs, and a much higher risk of clot formation. In younger bodies, this isn't as dangerous. But after age 60, the situation changes. Your blood can become thicker due to age-related dehydration. Your vessels grow narrower from decades of wear. Your heart pumps less efficiently. And that slow-moving blood, pooled in your lower body, can form clots, small, sticky, silent threats that may travel upward during the night or early morning hours. All it takes is one of those clots lodging in a vessel in the brain. The damage is done before you even wake up. Let me tell you about Mrs. Barbara Keene, 79, a retired florist from Kentucky, a lovely woman with a sharp memory and the gentlest smile. She began sleeping in her recliner 5 years ago after a hip surgery made lying flat too uncomfortable. Just until the pain goes away, she told herself. But the pain lingered, and over time, the recliner became her bed. She'd wake up stiff but managed, until one morning her daughter found her still in the chair, confused and barely able to move her left hand. She hadn't felt a thing. No warning. The silence of that morning, broken only by her daughter's gasp, was etched into her memory forever. At the hospital, a scan revealed she'd had a lacunar stroke, a small, deep stroke caused by a clot that had lodged in one of the tiny vessels inside her brain. Barbara had no major heart condition, no atrial fibrillation. What she did have was poor circulation from years of sleeping upright. Her legs would swell. Her ankles often felt tight, and every morning she'd feel dizzy getting out of that chair. Looking back, the signs were there. Here's the medical truth. Sleeping upright reduces the effectiveness of the barrel reflex, the body's natural system for regulating blood pressure. In flat sleep, your brain and heart communicate more easily to balance pressure. But when upright, especially if you're tilted forward or slightly twisted, that reflex weakens, leading to blood pressure instability. And in seniors, this becomes dangerous. Her dizzy mornings were a warning she missed. The recliner was silently setting a stroke trap. When you add in medications, dehydration, or compression from tight socks, or even swelling, you're facing multiple risk factors at once, all while you think you're just catching a comfortable night's sleep. Barbara, like many, never imagined that a recliner could quietly become a stroke trap. Her body was giving her subtle cues, the swollen legs, the morning dizziness. But these were dismissed as mere inconveniences of aging. This is why I stress that sleep is not just about rest. It's about positioning your body to actively protect your brain, to ensure optimal blood flow and stability. Are you ignoring these subtle stroke warnings? Your body is begging for better sleep. So if you're someone who sleeps in a recliner or loves naps in that chair, consider this your wake-up call. If you must sleep elevated, prioritize a hospital-style adjustable bed or a firm wedge that elevates your entire torso without compressing your lower limbs. This is crucial for maintaining proper circulation. Avoid soft, unsupportive pillows that allow your head to slump forward or to the side, further compromising your neck arteries. And be sure to stretch and move your legs regularly to support circulation, even during daytime naps. These small, conscious adjustments can make an immense difference. Escape the recliner trap. Learn how to sleep elevated safely and protect your brain. Barbara now sleeps in a bed again, with her head slightly raised and a body pillow supporting her hip. She tells me often, with a tremor in her voice, "I thought I was making things easier for myself. I never thought I was making them more dangerous." So many people assume the danger is in moving too much. But for seniors, the danger is often in staying still in the wrong position for too long. Barbara's regret echoes. I was making things more dangerous. Next, the #1 most damaging sleep position for seniors. But if you think a recliner might cut off blood flow, wait until you see what happens when you sleep on your favorite side, with your arm pinned under your pillow. It feels natural, comforting, but it may be the most damaging position of all. Let me explain why. There's a position that millions of people find comfort in, especially older adults. It feels natural, it feels secure. You lie on your right side. Tuck a soft pillow under your head, maybe cradle another between your knees, and out of habit, slide your arm underneath. You drift off thinking it's the same way you've slept for decades. But as a brain doctor, I have to tell you this is the most dangerous sleeping position I see in seniors. Not because it causes pain, but because it quietly restricts blood flow to your brain night after night and may be increasing your risk of stroke in the very hours when you believe you're resting safest. Let's break it down. When you lie on your right side, especially with your arm wedged under your head or pillow, you're putting direct pressure on major arteries and veins in your neck and shoulder. These include the critical carotid artery, which carries blood to the front of your brain, and the subclavian artery, which feeds into the vertebral arteries supplying the back. When they're compressed for hours, the flow slows, blood pools, veins get squeezed, arteries narrow, and in the quiet stillness of sleep, stagnant blood begins to thicken. It forms blood clots. That clot might stay in place for hours until you shift in the early morning. Your blood pressure rises with the sunrise. The clot dislodges. It travels upward, and in seconds your brain is starved of oxygen. I want to tell you about Mr. Ellis Randall, a 75-year-old Vietnam veteran from North Carolina. Strong-willed, fiercely independent, he used to joke that he could still outrun his grandson. Every night, Ellis slept on his right side, just like he had since the military. He'd curl his arm under his pillow for neck support. He told me one morning his wife found him halfway out of bed, dazed and unable to move his left leg. He was rushed to the ER, where scans revealed a right hemisphere stroke caused by a clot in his middle cerebral artery. This was a man without high cholesterol or diabetes, a non-smoker. The cause wasn't immediately apparent. As we reviewed his habits, it became clear. Chronic pressure on his right side, combined with years of sleeping on that arm, had compromised his vascular flow. Ultrasound showed a significant narrowing of his right carotid artery. Because he had been unknowingly reducing blood flow for hours every night, a clot formed silently in his sleep and struck just before dawn. Ellis survived, but his mobility is reduced. He now walks with a brace and undergoes weekly therapy to rebuild his coordination. He once said to me quietly, with a profound sense of betrayal, "Doc, I had no idea the way I slept could betray me." The silent killer was his own arm, his own pillow, and a habit he thought was harmless. Here's the truth. This position doesn't just affect arteries. It also compresses the brachial plexus, a bundle of nerves that runs through your shoulder and down your arm. When that bundle is squeezed under your body weight, the nerves don't just go numb. They send distress signals to your brain and can interrupt your sleep cycle without you realizing it. Over time, this poor circulation and nerve stress may contribute to microvascular damage, the kind that builds quietly until it breaks. Older adults are especially vulnerable because with age, blood vessels stiffen and narrow, blood becomes more viscous. Recovery from restricted flow takes longer, and nerve resilience decreases. So if you've been sleeping on your right side, especially with your arm underneath, it's time to make a change. Not because of comfort, but because of life-altering consequences. Try switching to your left side with your head gently elevated, and your arms resting forward or alongside the body, not underneath. Use a contoured pillow to keep your neck in alignment and reduce pressure on key vessels. The left side is often preferred, as it can promote better circulation to the heart and reduce pressure on vital organs. One small change may protect your independence, your memory, your ability to hug your family, walk your dog, or speak your grandchild's name. You might not feel the damage being done, but your brain remembers. Your blood flow records it, and eventually the body reacts. Because what you don't know while you sleep can change everything when you wake up. Ellis's quiet realization, "I had no idea the way I slept could betray me," is a stark reminder for us all. But if you think sleeping on your arm is risky, just wait until we talk about what happens when your body tosses and turns all night long, and how restlessness itself may be a red flag your brain is trying to warn you before disaster strikes. Let me show you what it means. There's a kind of restlessness that sneaks in as we age. The inability to stay asleep, the frequent waking, the constant shifting from one side to the other. You might chalk it up to normal aging, arthritis, or the need to use the bathroom. But what if I told you that this pattern of tossing and turning throughout the night, often exacerbated by pillows that fail to stabilize your head and body, may be a warning sign from your brain, and worse, a trigger for a stroke? This isn't just discomfort, it's a critical message. As a neurologist, I've come to see sleep not just as a way to recharge, but as a critical time when the brain restores blood flow, balances pressure, and clears out toxins. When that process is interrupted again and again, especially in older adults, the consequences can be quietly devastating. Every time you move sharply in bed, rolling over, shifting your head, adjusting your neck, especially if your pillow isn't providing consistent support, you're temporarily altering blood flow to and from the brain. In a healthy 30-year-old, that might not matter. But at 70 or 80, with stiffened arteries, narrowed veins, and fragile vessel walls, each of those movements can create brief periods of reduced circulation. Add in low nighttime hydration, low oxygen levels, or underlying blood pressure issues, and your risk skyrockets. But what's more alarming is what we're beginning to understand. Frequent movement during sleep may not just be a side effect of poor rest. It may be your brain gasping for balance. Let me tell you about Mrs. Nancy Delgado, a 76-year-old retired piano teacher from Colorado. She was always sharp, elegant, and precise. But for months, Nancy had been waking up exhausted, even though she thought she was sleeping for 7 hours. Her husband mentioned she seemed to fidget constantly in bed, turning side to side every 10 to 15 minutes. At first, they thought it was just aging. Then came the headaches, the early morning dizziness. And one night she woke up with her right hand numb and her words slurred. In the ER, imaging revealed she'd suffered a small ischemic stroke, likely hours before she woke. And the cause? Her sleep study and vascular scan showed a combination of poor sleep quality and intermittent hypoperfusion, temporary reductions in brain blood flow that occurred during her restless movements. Over time, this unstable circulation led to blood pooling in her neck vessels, and eventually it formed blood clots. These clots weren't caused by high cholesterol or a heart condition. They were born from interrupted, unstable sleep, the kind that tricks you into thinking you're resting while your brain is under siege. This silent betrayal, often enabled by pillows that allow excessive movement, is far more common than we think. For seniors especially, this kind of fragmented sleep poses several threats. It prevents your blood pressure from stabilizing as normal deep sleep lowers BP in a controlled, healing way. It keeps your cortisol levels elevated, which can lead to overnight blood pressure spikes, a key trigger for morning strokes. It disrupts the glymphatic system, the brain's natural cleanup crew, leading to long-term vascular inflammation. And it creates constant fluctuations in cerebral perfusion, the pressure needed to keep blood flowing through the brain's delicate capillaries. These aren't just medical terms. They're early warning signs that your body has been whispering to you through the night. Waking up drenched in sweat, gasping, or feeling your heart race, that's your brain signaling distress. Tingling in your hands, imbalance, or a stiff neck in the morning. These aren't just age-related nuisances. They may be your body's way of begging for better sleep positioning, hydration, and circulation. So what can you do? Start by treating your restlessness as a symptom, not a habit. Your pillow plays a crucial role here. A pillow that's too soft or unsupportive can contribute to this constant shifting, allowing your head and neck to fall into dangerous angles. Avoid late caffeine or alcohol. Keep your room cool and dark, but use layered bedding instead of heavy sheets. Use a body pillow to cradle your joints and prevent unconscious jerking. And most importantly, talk to your doctor about a sleep study if you or your partner notice you're waking often or moving excessively in bed. Consider a soft, yet supportive cervical pillow that maintains neck alignment throughout the night, reducing the need for constant adjustments. Nancy now sleeps with a soft cervical pillow, keeps water near her bedside, and practices slow breathing exercises before bed. Her recovery has been slow, but she tells me, "I used to think waking up tired was normal. I didn't realize it was a warning I was ignoring every night." And she's right, because when sleep becomes a battlefield, the body remembers. But there's another silent threat that works hand in hand with poor sleep, often linked to your pillow choice, and it's one that often gets overlooked because it starts before bedtime. As a brain doctor, I've seen firsthand how something as seemingly innocuous as your pillow can become a silent threat. Many believe a pillow is just for comfort, a soft place to rest your head after a long day. But the truth is, the height and support your pillow provides are critical to your brain survival. I often see older adults using pillows that are either too thick, forcing their chin down into their chest, or too thin, letting their head fall sharply backward. You might think, any pillow will do, but this seemingly harmless choice can silently pinch your life away. Is your chin telling a dangerous story while you sleep, one of restricted blood flow and impending danger? What most people don't realize is that when your pillow forces your neck into an unnatural angle, either an extreme chin tuck or an overextension, it's like kinking a garden hose. Your vertebral and carotid arteries, the vital highways carrying oxygen-rich blood to your brain, become compressed. This kinked hose effect drastically reduces blood flow, especially to the back of the brain. As we age, our blood vessels lose their flexibility, becoming stiffer and narrower. This makes them far more susceptible to compression. When blood flow is restricted for hours during sleep, stagnant blood can pool and thicken, creating the perfect conditions for a dangerous clot to form. This isn't just discomfort. It's a direct threat to your brain's oxygen supply. I want to tell you about Mrs. Jenkins, a 72-year-old retired librarian who came to me with chronic neck pain. She was constantly swapping pillows, seeking comfort, but never truly finding it. Her mornings were often marked by a persistent dull headache and occasional dizziness that she brushed off as just getting older. But that discomfort was masking a deeper, more insidious danger. One morning, her husband found her in bed, her eyes open but unfocused, her vision blurred, and her mind confused. She tried to speak, but her words were garbled. In a panic, he called for an ambulance. At the ER, the scans revealed Mrs. Jenkins had suffered a minor stroke, a small but impactful event in her brain. While there were no major blockages in her heart or signs of atrial fibrillation, the doctors noted subtle signs of vascular stress in her neck. It became clear as we reviewed her habits. Her ill-fitting pillow, which had forced her neck into a prolonged, unnatural angle night after night, had contributed to the perfect storm for a clot. Medical studies confirm that sustained, extreme neck angles can injure arterial walls, creating tiny tears where inflammation takes hold and clots can silently begin to form. For Mrs. Jenkins, her innocent quest for comfort had nearly cost her everything. You see, this isn't just about temporary kinks in blood flow. Over years, repeated microtrauma from poor pillow alignment can lead to chronic inflammation in the delicate linings of your arterial walls. This inflammation acts as an invitation for plaque to build up and for blood clots to adhere. Add to this the common age-related changes like cervical spondylosis, the gradual wear and tear of the neck spine, and you have a dramatically increased risk. These degenerative changes make your neck vessels even more vulnerable to compression and injury from an unsupportive pillow. It's a silent, cumulative damage that builds quietly until it breaks, often with devastating consequences. So what can you do? It's about finding your Goldilocks pillow. Not too high, not too low, but just right for your unique spinal alignment. When you lie down, your pillow should keep your head aligned with your spine, maintaining the natural curve of your neck, not angled downward or turned sharply. Your chin should be neutral, neither tucked into your chest nor pointing towards the ceiling. Test pillows for firmness and contour that cradle your neck without pushing your head into awkward positions. Even one correctly chosen supportive pillow can make a profound difference. It's not just about comfort. It's about ensuring uninterrupted blood flow to your brain. Mrs. Jenkins now sleeps with a carefully chosen contoured pillow that keeps her head and neck perfectly aligned. She told me recently, with a newfound sense of peace, "My neck pain improved, and the dizziness is gone. I never knew my pillow was the problem." Her experience is a powerful reminder that minor discomfort can often mask major danger. But sometimes the danger isn't just your pillow. It's the environment around it, the very air you breathe while you sleep. Next, we're going to talk about sleeping in cold rooms and how the absence of proper neck support in such an environment can dramatically increase your stroke risk overnight. As a brain doctor, I've seen countless patients who believe they are doing everything right for their health, only to discover a silent danger lurking in their most intimate space, the bedroom. We often associate crisp, cool nights with better sleep, that refreshing air, the way your body instinctively curls into warmth beneath a blanket. Many older adults even turn the thermostat down low, believing it's healthier or more energy efficient. My own mother used to swear by a cold room. But what if that seemingly innocent, cool environment, especially when combined with a pillow that offers poor neck support, was doing more than just making you shiver? What if it was quietly restricting blood flow to your brain, tightening your arteries, and increasing your risk of a stroke while you sleep? Your cold room comfort could be silently strangling your brain. This overlooked danger is a stroke trigger you need to understand. Most seniors don't realize this, but temperature and posture during sleep deeply affect your vascular system. As we age, our body becomes less efficient at regulating heat, especially at night. A cold environment causes vasoconstriction, the narrowing of blood vessels. This effect is most dangerous when it occurs in the neck, where two vital arteries, the carotid and vertebral arteries, supply oxygen-rich blood to your brain. Now imagine your neck slightly bent at the wrong angle on a soft pillow, or worse, unsupported entirely. That subtle misalignment, combined with cold-induced vasoconstriction, dramatically reduces the flow of blood to the brain. In an aging body, where vessels are already stiffened and blood is slower to circulate, this sets the stage for a deadly combination: restricted flow, pooling blood, and eventually clot formation. Your cold room is silently squeezing your brain's blood vessels. This, plus a bad pillow, is deadly. I want to tell you about Miss Loretta Dixon, a 78-year-old retired nurse from Montana. She was as sharp as ever, full of stories and wit. She had always preferred a cool bedroom and slept with the window cracked, even in the depths of winter. Her habit was to curl up tightly, her neck slightly tucked into her chest, with only a flat, unsupportive pillow beneath her head. She thought this was normal, even healthy. Then one morning, she didn't wake up as usual. Her son found her partially alert, but unable to focus her eyes. Her speech was slurred, and she couldn't sit up on her own. A cold room, a flat pillow, a hidden recipe for disaster. Loretta's story will chill you. At the hospital, scans showed a brainstem stroke, a particularly dangerous type, caused by a clot in the posterior circulation, the area fed by the vertebral arteries, which run along the spine and through the neck. There was no heart disease, no history of smoking, no skipped medication. But there was one likely culprit: chronic neck compression and cold-induced vasospasm while sleeping. Over time, these two factors had reduced blood flow just enough to form a clot, which had traveled into the most vulnerable part of her brain. Loretta is now in physical therapy. She walks with assistance and has difficulty swallowing, a painful reminder that what we overlook as minor discomfort can change our lives in a single night. Her brain stem under siege, the shocking link between cold, pillows, and a devastating stroke. Cold temperatures tighten vessels. Poor neck support misaligns those vessels. Together, they quietly reduce oxygen to the brain, especially in the early morning hours, when blood pressure naturally spikes. If your brain is under-oxygenated and your vessels are constricted, even a small clot can cause devastating damage. And here's something else most people don't realize. Many seniors already have some degree of cervical spondylosis, age-related changes in the neck spine. When you combine this with poor pillow support in a cold room, the risk of reduced blood flow to the brain increases dramatically. Your neck's hidden weakness, plus a cold room, creates a stroke time bomb. Learn how to disarm it. So, what should you do? Keep your room cool but not cold. The optimal sleep temperature for older adults is around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. Make sure your neck is properly supported. Use a medium firm pillow that keeps your head aligned with your spine, not angled downward or turned sharply to one side. Avoid sleeping with your chin tucked into your chest or your head cocked to the side. These small adjustments may seem insignificant, but they are acts of protection, a way of keeping your brain nourished while you sleep. The perfect sleep temperature and pillow. Simple changes to protect your brain tonight. Loretta told me recently, with a quiet sadness, "I never thought something so simple, the cold, my pillow, could hurt my brain. I just didn't know." And that's the most frightening part. So many seniors don't know. They're doing what feels natural, what they've done for years, without realizing that the aging body plays by different rules. But sometimes the danger isn't in the position you sleep in. It's in what you did just before you closed your eyes, because the final habit may be the most misunderstood. Loretta's chilling truth: ignorance is deadly. Next, the final, most misunderstood stroke trigger before bed. There's a common belief many of us carry into our later years that a full belly and a glass of wine help us sleep better. That feeling of warmth, of comfort, of winding down the day with a hearty dinner in a nightcap. It's a ritual in many households, but as a neurologist, I need to tell you something you may never have heard before. Going to bed right after a heavy meal or alcohol may silently trigger the kind of stroke that robs you of everything: your speech, your memory, your independence, before you even know it happened. This drowsy ritual, especially combined with a head-down pillow position, is a silent danger. The aging body processes food, alcohol, and stress very differently than it once did. What once brought comfort can now become a silent danger. When you consume a large fatty meal late at night, especially one rich in sodium or sugar, your digestive system works overtime. Blood is redirected from the brain to the gut. This drop in brain circulation may not feel dramatic, but if your arteries are already narrowed with age, the consequences can be significant. Add alcohol to the equation, and you've just created a perfect storm. Alcohol acts as a vasodilator first, widening blood vessels. But as it wears off, your vessels suddenly constrict again. Blood pressure surges. The heart works harder to stabilize itself. In older adults, this abrupt shift can lead to arrhythmias, sharp blood pressure swings, and poor oxygen delivery to the brain, all of which quietly raise your stroke risk, especially during sleep when you're most vulnerable, and your head may be angled down on an unsupportive pillow. Let me tell you about Mr. Gerald Thompson, a 74-year-old retired farmer from Nebraska. A man of discipline and strength, Gerald had one simple joy: his evening routine. Dinner at 7, a glass of bourbon at 8, bed by 8:30. One winter night, he indulged in a holiday dinner. Turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, pie, and his usual drink. He felt satisfied, even proud, as he settled into bed on his customary soft pillow, his head sinking low. But that night, something changed. Around 4 a.m., his wife awoke to find him cold and unresponsive. He was rushed to the emergency room where a CT scan revealed a massive ischemic stroke in the frontal lobe, caused by a clot that had formed and traveled during the night. The most tragic stroke story you'll hear. The doctors found no signs of atrial fibrillation, no recent infection, no skipped medication. What they did find was elevated post-meal triglyceride levels, dehydrated blood, and constricted vessels from alcohol rebound. That combination, exacerbated by the reduced cerebral perfusion from lying flat on his soft pillow, had reduced circulation to the brain just long enough to allow a clot to form quietly and fatally. Gerald survived, but the stroke stole his ability to speak. His wife, now his full-time caregiver, told me through tears, "We thought we were doing everything right. We didn't know dinner, and a drink could take him from me." The truth is, digestion and alcohol compete with your brain for resources. After age 60, the digestive system slows down, meaning food sits in the stomach longer, drawing blood away from the brain for hours. Alcohol further dehydrates the blood and can disrupt the natural heart rhythm. Combined, these two forces create unstable blood pressure, encourage clot formation, and reduce cerebral perfusion, especially during the early morning surge in cortisol when strokes most often occur. This unstable physiology, often compounded by a pillow that allows the head to slump, creating further pressure on neck arteries, means your body's internal clock is fighting against your evening routine. This battle risks a stroke. So what can you do to protect yourself? If you're going to drink, do so in moderation, ideally earlier in the day. If you enjoy a full meal, allow at least 2 to 3 hours before lying down. Drink water with your dinner. Avoid salty, greasy, or sugary foods late at night. And don't mistake drowsiness for healthy sleep. Alcohol-induced sleep is fragmented and disruptive to brain function. These aren't about denying yourself enjoyment. It's about respecting what your body needs at this stage of life, and ensuring your pillow supports optimal blood flow, not hinders it. Rewire your evenings. Save your brain. Simple steps to prevent overnight stroke triggers. Gerald's wife's lament echoes a profound truth. "We thought we were doing everything right. We didn't know dinner, and a drink could take him from me." So many assume the danger is in moving too much, or in rare conditions. But for seniors, the danger is often in habits that feel comfortable, even beneficial, yet silently compromise your brain's vital blood supply, especially when combined with improper head and pillow positioning. Because when it comes to stroke, the threat doesn't always come with pain or warning. Sometimes it comes quietly, wrapped in comfort, disguised as routine. And now that we've uncovered the 9 most dangerous sleeping habits that could raise your risk of stroke overnight, you may be wondering, what does safe sleep really look like? Gerald's tragic loss reveals the ultimate truth. Comfort can be a killer. Now, the final wake-up call. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you, not just for watching, but for caring enough to understand the truth about how sleep, and particularly your pillow position, can quietly shape the health of your brain. What you've just learned isn't about fear. It's about power. The kind of power that comes from awareness, from knowing what's happening inside your body while the world sleeps. As a brain doctor, I've seen firsthand how knowledge can transform outcomes. At this stage in life, knowledge is not just helpful, it's protective. And every choice you make now, no matter how small, holds more weight than it did decades ago. We've walked through 9 silent habits that may seem harmless. Positions of comfort, routines of familiarity, decisions made out of pain or fatigue, but each one has the potential to slowly, quietly push the brain toward danger. Think back to sleeping flat without a pillow, face down in a recliner, under a heavy blanket or on your favorite arm, tossing and turning all night, using the wrong height pillow, sleeping in the cold without neck support, or going to bed with a full belly and a glass of alcohol. Each of these, over time, creates the conditions for blood to stagnate, thicken, and clot. And in a body already facing the natural changes of age, stiffened arteries, slower circulation, less oxygen, these clots are not just possible, they're likely. But here's the most important truth I can offer you as a doctor, a truth I want to embed in your mind. Most strokes that happen during sleep are preventable. Let that settle in. They are not inevitable. They are not random. They are often the result of routines we never questioned, signals from the body we ignored, or comfort habits that no longer serve us as we age. The power to change this, the power to safeguard your brain and your future, rests firmly in your hands. You still have control, because if there is one message I hope you carry from this, it's this. You still have the ability to change how you sleep, how you care for your brain, and how you protect your tomorrow. Sleep is not just rest. Sleep is when the brain restores blood flow, clears toxins, balances hormones, and prepares for another day. Sleep is when your brain is most vulnerable, but also when it's most open to healing, if you let it. Your pillow, your position, your nightly routine, these are not minor details. They are critical levers in your brain's long-term health. So let's bring it all together. What can you change, starting tonight? Not just to sleep better, but to protect your brain for the long run. Start tonight. Elevate your head slightly with a supportive pillow, about 30 degrees. Sleep on your left side if you can, with your arms forward, not underneath. Support your neck with a contoured pillow that maintains its natural curve. Skip the late drinks and heavy meals, allowing at least 2 to 3 hours for digestion. Take your medications without fail. Choose breathable, lightweight bedding. Keep your room cool but not cold, ideally 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And hydrate consistently throughout the day. These are not dramatic changes. They are subtle shifts, but they carry immense weight. In a world full of things we can't control, this is one part of your health where your decisions matter every single night. You are not too old to change. You are not too far along to protect yourself. And you are never too late to learn how to sleep, not just for comfort, but for survival. As I often tell my patients, it's not about how long you sleep, it's about how wisely you sleep. The wisdom to make these changes, to respect your aging body's unique needs, is a profound act of self-care. So tonight, as you pull back the covers and lay your head down, as you adjust your pillow, I want you to ask yourself a powerful question. Is the way I'm sleeping helping my brain or hurting it? Because when you protect your sleep, you protect everything. You protect your speech, your memory, your balance, your independence. You protect the very essence of who you are, the ability to connect with your loved ones, to enjoy your hobbies, to live life on your own terms. And that, I assure you, is always worth it. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned from this video and plan to apply in your own life. Your insights not only help me improve, but they also create a ripple effect, supporting others on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video and found it valuable, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. Your feedback means a lot to us, and your active participation helps spread this vital, life-saving information to those who need it most. So, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone you care about who might benefit, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms, wisely and with a protected brain.